Hello. I'm doing the bad penny thing, turning up again. Okay, as I was writing the companion text to go with the live video I just made about Loren Murray and Fukushima and radiation and all the rest of it, um, the writing did one of those things where it went off on its own little journey. And lately I've just been posting it to Scribed and not saying anything. I figure if you want to check that out, you might get something more for it. But if you're in heart, you'll be motivated to do that if you need to. So I'm not worried about it. This time, though, and in respect of how deep and challenging this kind of information is and this situation is, I thought it wouldn't hurt to go back and record the text that I wrote as well. So this is another journal from 419. I guess we could call it the first and the second one of the day. And the Mayan day was 3 rabbit or star. Live and written. The pain of waking up. Nuclear radiation. Being invincible. And the purpose of evil. Okay. Oh, and quite naturally, that's the radiation protection piece that you hear in the background with those chimes. Okay, who and what are you? Do you know? How deeply have you explored, self-inquired into this? Have you found your nothingness yet? Then you're aware of the real strangeness of discovering that and discovering just how little you really know. Are you awake? It would probably help to be awake to take in this particular journal. It's an intense one. So I ask you to center in heart to come on this trip. How mature is your soul? Are you what they call an old soul? Do you know this about yourself? Care to find out? Whatever you are not limited to the body, the mind. You are not that. Now you may wear that. You may use it for your 3D experience here, but that is not you. No way could anything physical at all contain you, my friends. You are a great being of light. Step into that and own it. Be in heart. Now, don't be concerned with ego here. It is not the body, the outer persona, who can claim this. And that would be ridiculous. So don't let mind go there. Just tell it to shut up. You are a cell, an atom in the body of God. So am I. Of Source, of the Great Spirit, Divinity, by whatever name. That's what you are. So step up into that. It will help for this particular trip we are taking, be in heart. One thing that all of us find as we're waking up is that we have been lied to. We've been thoroughly lied to. So thoroughly that sometimes we wonder if there's an ounce of truth anywhere present here in 3D. It gets that bad at times. The lies and deception, they are everywhere. Everything is either full of lies or built on a foundation of lies, right from the medical system to education and the schools to science, the government, society, just everything. Oh, and forget the media. In the U.S., they're a sad joke. And they may be among the few who don't know it, but they are. So we have this experience of awakening to truth, capital T, that goes on within, that marches alongside of the joy and the bliss of waking up. Now, we've all experienced that too. We're certainly ready to set out on a joyful journey of awakening, only we didn't quite bank on this painful side of things, did we? We didn't. We couldn't have planned for the pain we'd encounter as we had the scales and the veils lifted up, stripped away to see things as they really are, nor at least to begin to come closer to that. It hurts. It takes some adjustments inside to make room for what we find and to deal with what comes up from the depths of us as we're finding it. I'm sure I am not the only one who has cried deep, bitter tears over this or that discovery. You feel betrayed, let down, and used somehow. It just doesn't seem right. Well, do you recognize any of that now as playing the victim role? Can you see that? Have you worked your way through enough of your stuff, your own interior programming and beliefs, to be able to see this? You know, there are very great gifts that come in the wake of working through these things. And perhaps you've found that out already. Then again, maybe you haven't yet made that connection, haven't seen how the new, higher consciousness, the increased clarity you feel after going through some heavy stuff, is directly related to your working your way through it. Be alert. It's really awesome sometimes, the good that comes on the heels of something that seemed so bad or terrible. Pretty amazing. Okay, anyway, back to the point. We're mature enough in our awakening process at this point to know we've been heavily lied to. And we've all discovered some of that by now. For some, their first instance of this was seeing through the 9/11 story, realizing that the core story the government told was just their excuse to clamp down on us, to pass the Patriot Act, take our freedoms away. Piece of garbage. But don't let me go there and get distracted. So back to the point. I come to you with this intensity from watching Lorraine Moret deliver some hard truths about Fukushima and radiation in general. You'll be impressed with her. She's very grounded and sane, quite the opposite of a fear-monger. There's not a wisp of that in her delivery. Just the facts, ma'am. That's what you get. I'll give you links to 2 of her presentations with my video. Unscribed, anyway. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure you should watch them. Her videos. Why not? Well, first, is it your bedtime? This is not good bedtime story material. Or are you perhaps in the midst of your hectic day and you've got the energies of chaos rattling around there in your awareness? If so, then that's not a good time either. Perhaps, and most importantly, are you in fear over this? If you are, then there's no need to click on the links. You probably know enough already. What good would knowing more do at the expense of amplifying, of magnifying that fear? I don't suggest that. It's not beneficial, not to you or to the rest of life that you're connected with in a fractal way. So here's what I suggest. If you feel up to watching this, then just strongly center in heart first. Now, I kid you not, the material is challenging. It merits this. Remind yourself just who you're not, which is the body, the mind here. What appears in 3D, that isn't you. You're the being that inhabits that projects it down here from a higher dimension. That's not you. Now, why is this important? Does it seem really strange or irrelevant? Well, let's look at that fear. We don't want to expand or maximize that. That's what the powers that be choose to do. They want us in fear. We, as light beings, do not choose to be manipulated this way. So, peacefully, we don't comply. Peaceful non-compliance, a favorite thing of mine. So, that's one thing. And parenthetically, I say that's a good strategy for watching or reading anything that's difficult and challenging. Just do it from heart. Why else is this important? Well, to isolate the fear there. You may not know it, but it's not you that's in fear over this. You have absolutely nothing to fear. You yourself cannot be touched. You pre-exist the body, and you will be there after it's gone. You are not physical, my friend. Can a light beam be injured? So, from your safe perch in heart here, let's take a look at that. The body itself, the biology, it does have something to fear here. And so does the mind. The mind is most often the origin of fear. That's pretty reliable. Have a look at that, but do it from heart. You'll notice a major difference. You won't be subject to that fear. Oh, sure, you can still see it. You can witness it, can even feel it, but you know it's not you. It's not yours. It's not of you. Fear has absolutely not one subatomic particle of space within heart. In the kingdom of heart, we are completely, thoroughly fearless. There's just no fear in here. Check it out. Now you can see fear from here, but you are not subject to it. You are in charge, your higher self. So moving on. Now this is quite empowering right here. We could stop. There's some real benefit here. But I won't, of course. I'm not finished yet. But this is powerful already. This ability to stand in the heart and just witness the fear. To take this new perspective, its heart vision, and not be taken over by it. It's pretty darn neat, I assure you. What would it be like to never be torn up by fear again? And that's what you have here, at least in potential. None compels. It's always a choice. Many didn't know that fear itself was a matter of choice. They thought they had no choice. They thought that they were victims. That's what you are when you have no choice. You are a victim. And that's no fun. I don't choose any longer to go through that. So I enter heart space, and fear is gone. Just like that, once you get the hang of it. Okay, so are we reasonably masterful here so that I can continue? I'm serious now about not watching this lecture if you can't watch it from here, from this excellent space within your own heart. You are not touchable. Your real being can't be harmed, even touched. You can't be hurt. Don't forget that. Mind will slip back into body identity unless you're alert. So be the watchman in your kingdom of heart. Better yet, be the king. Boy, has this ever gone astray from the video, the live video it's meant to go with. That's one reason I've taken to calling these the text companion instead of transcript for the live videos. The written ones tend to go their own way, roughly on the same topic, of course, but no longer even attempting to parallel the video message. So, what I came here to share, a big part of it, is the prayer I have found my heart in. This isn't a prayer that I came up with. It came up with me. It's a powerful prayer, and I invite you to join me in it. Now, first, what would you pray for if you found we'd all been compromised by this nuclear radiation, and on a lot greater scale than we've been led to believe? What if it was already too late? What would you ask for? What would you pray for? Can you spend a moment with that? Maybe push pause. Look within for your answer. And watch and observe as you're doing it. You may see some victim consciousness erupt over this. Most of us will. That's how we've been programmed and trained to be helpless victims, so don't be surprised. Now, here's what I say. First, it's a time for miracles. I am so very aware that anything is possible. Remember, all your atoms fit in a thimble with room for mine in there. All of your solid substance. Nothing is what it seems. So, the time of miracles is fast approaching. Upliftment, ascension, whatever you call it. Well, why not now? Why the heck not? Maybe this thing is meant to be the impetus, the catalyst to spur us on to this. I don't know, but anything's possible. So, from that powerful space, both in heart and not in fear, I remind myself that anything is possible, and then I make my request. First, I ask for the rollback of all harm done thus far by the radiation to innocent life, whether it be to peoples, to animals, to Mother Earth, to the waters, the blades of grass, the trees, the bugs, the stones. I don't care. I want the full burden of this lifted. I want the consequences rolled back or treated in a very special way. What is that way? Well, I am going to high levels here. I go to the Father and to the Great Karmic Board, a group of advanced spiritual beings, advisors that deals with such things. It is these I address. So this call is for divine mercy. I want not only all innocent life to be unburdened of all negativity of any kind arising from radiation. I want something else. My companion call is for divine justice. I ask that these terrible consequences that have been sent forth shall instead bounce right back on those who have, with evil intent, sent them out. I ask that the powers that be stopped in this way by having to directly experience the very things they set out to deliver to us. Divine justice. Do you see? Now be in heart. There is no malice or hatred in this. Do you feel the energy of it? This is actually an action of divine love. Can you see it? What is the very thing that could stop these ones from making such terrible karma for themselves? What will halt them in their runaway train of seeking ever more power, money, and control? What else could possibly stop them but perhaps to be forced to eat the meal they've been serving up to everyone else? Please consider, has anything stopped them thus far? Thus, my call, which I invite you to join me in, is for divine justice, but not unless it's given from heart. I don't want you making the karma for resentment and revenge energy being the motivating factor for the prayer. God does not punish. Man does that when working from mind. Heart has no judgment, no condemnation, no cruelty, no vengeance at all. Heart is above that. Heart recognizes, too, what it takes to soften hard hearts. What is that? Well, what's in your experience? Take a look at your own life or the lives of your children, and you'll see that it takes walking a mile in someone else's moccasins to really understand what's happening there. And that just is what this is, the pathway to the softened heart for the powers that be. So, I ask the Father and the Great Karmic Board to take this prayer under consideration. I ask them to look at it in the light of divine justice, divine mercy, divine love, yes. I want the dark ones to get the intensity of what they sent out, but I ask that my prayer always be adjusted in accordance with the divine will, the will of God. God knows from the higher levels, from the point of omnipresence, what is best, can see the full situation from all of the angles. And I want the best possible outcome for us and for them. There. What does your heart say to this prayer? Is it too intense for you? I can imagine. I'm not used to praying like this myself. It's very intense. Still, it's sincere, and it's coming from the right place. There's no fear involved. There's no revenge. The prayer says you at a certain point. So, just like I suggest that not everyone needs to watch Loren's lecture, I also don't suggest that everyone offer this particular prayer. It will only make you karma if said from revenge or anger or some hatred or terrible fear. Do you see how this could be? The same exact words can be used. It depends on where the prayer originates, whether it is worthy of being implemented or not. But then again, whatever you're praying for, when you adjust it according to the divine will, you're fine. You're not going to make karma that way. So, all of that being said, Source understands completely. As we take in both sides of the coin here, this is one tremendous blow we're being asked to absorb. We have been terribly irradiated without even being informed. The little tidbits of news we've been given around this, not the truth. The truth, once again, and as usual, per the script, has been well hidden from us. Well, thank God for brave, honest people like Lorraine Moray being raised up. I am so grateful to her and for all of her study and preparation to be so well qualified and then courageous enough to bring us this message. Now, Over the next days, you will likely be in a good position to be observing the self as you handle this news, this information. The mind and the body will be tempted back into fear again and again. Well, it will be a great opportunity to take up your post right there in heart. Fear is always my reminder that I have strayed from my centering. It calls me home, believe it or not. We can even use the dark things for our own purposes, my friends. Life just isn't what we ever thought it was. It's actually much better by far. Even this crazy mixed up life that has things like Fukushima and the powers that be stomping around in it, even that is still quite magnificent. Check it out for yourself. Go in heart. I promise I'm not crazy. I'm really not. The whole world is, maybe, but one thing's certain for me, I'm not crazy. Once we all wake up, we'll have to redefine sane and crazy. They morph a good bit on this trip. So come and join me. It's a strange place to be, yes, but empowering. It's tremendously empowering. Empowering in the right way. Empowering the highest in you. Taking command over from the lesser self, the illusory one. Getting back into the driver's seat. So, welcome home. Stay a while. Settle in and be blessed. And be the blessing that you are to the whole world, to the cosmos. You are that. Take up your throne. Enter heart and don't leave it. This is your home away from home. So, welcome back. Now, as I went back, after I made the original live recording and I was listening to it to be sure it was okay, and to be sure I'd gotten everything into my written version, I missed a big point. So this is a PS. I just realized I missed something major from the original video to include in this piece. Here's what's been arising about this question. What is the purpose of evil here in 3D? What do you think? Should I answer that? Well, just remember, you have your own answers within. It may well be that the purpose of evil is to just show us what we are not, so we can see that and decide as required. Man, know thyself. You're not just this body. You're in many simultaneous lifetimes right now, and those are just as real as this. What's as real as the terrible radiation is the evil in those that sent it forth. Excuse me. That evil is devastating. That beings who could do this even exist. How horrible is the state of these beings? And how horrible a world that would contain them. It may be that we needed this terrible impetus, this powerful catalyst for waking up. You know, many of us don't awaken until we are terribly challenged, and directly. To have our neighbor abused and challenged, for many, won't be enough. It's not real enough. It doesn't come close enough. Well, here it is. It could hardly get any closer than this. We've all been radiated. Well, maybe we'll have those mass ascensions that have been predicted here and there, as people rise up into higher consciousness, into our light bodies. It could be. After all, don't forget, anything is possible. And I have one more, PPS. Something else I may have missed to really point out the importance of is the victim consciousness, to help you be alert for that coming up in yourself. This is some of the most insidious energy, and we've been programmed on many layers and levels with this stuff. It's ubiquitous and insidious. It's downright ugly. So be on the alert. When you're identified with it, you can't see it. You have to step back. The victim consciousness is the clear evidence that we've given our power away. We've made a choice not to master something, some situation or energy. We've surrendered to that. We've gone into powerlessness before it. Often, my friends, when we chase down our own negative energy, such as resentment or rage, we'll find this victim stuff underneath. It makes us act like a cornered, frightened animal, lashing out in search of relief or release. So let's all remember, under anger, we usually find fear. This can be quite empowering, but as with anything else, a lot depends on the perspective or attitude we choose to take. Okay, see you soon.